Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I also oppose this amendment. As Mr. Turner has said, we can go over all of the issues that we debate about the triad. Certainly, I disagree with Mr. Khanna's characterization of the experts, the so-called experts' view on the triad. But I would also point out what Mr. Khanna has suggested we do is take $1 billion out of funding for the GBSD and allocate that money to pandemic preparedness. Now, this is I suppose something that he's done to try to say that there's a cause that's greater than our nuclear deterrent. I think it's important, first of all, to point out we have allocated significant resources to pandemic response, to pandemic relief, to ensuring that we are providing the kind of support this country needs to begin to recover from the pandemic, and also to ensure that we're protecting ourselves from these kinds of things in the future. But there's one fundamental issue that is missing in this discussion, and that is China, and that the extent to which the Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, is directly responsible for the deaths that we have seen in the United States and around the world, directly responsible for the economic devastation. They caused this pandemic to be spread globally, and when I say they caused it to be spread globally, I say that because they knew that they had human-to-human transmission, and they stopped travel from Wuhan to the rest of the world, but they did not allow travel from Wuhan into the rest of China, or they allowed travel from Wuhan into the rest of the world. They knew what they were doing. And instead of coming together to hold China accountable, which is what we ought to be doing, which is what we, the Republicans, asked Speaker Pelosi and others to do, to join with us on our task force to hold the Chinese government accountable for this death and devastation. Instead, my colleague Mr. Khanna is proposing an amendment cutting $1 billion out of our nuclear forces. This amendment helps China. This amendment helps America's adversaries. The people that would benefit from this amendment are the people that want to see the United States unilaterally disarm, and that is the government of China. So it is absolutely shameful, in my view. This is a time that we need to be clearer than ever before that we are going to put the resources behind modernizing our nuclear forces. Our adversaries are doing it. The government of China is doing it. We are falling behind. And the notion, I don't think that the Chinese government, frankly, could imagine in their wildest dreams that they would have been able to get the United States Congress, a member of the United States Congress, to propose in response to the pandemic that we ought to cut $1 billion out of our nuclear forces. It is more than they could have imagined. I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment, and I yield back.